Picture yourself getting into bed this evening, drifting off just like you have countless nights before, but this time you don't open your eyes in the morning. There's no alert, no discomfort you notice, just stillness. This reality occurs more frequently than most think. Each year, tens of thousands of Americans over 50 experience cardiac events and brain attacks during their slumber. And here's what's truly alarming. For the majority, the trigger wasn't an unusual illness, unfortunate circumstances, or family history by itself. It was something they did nightly, thinking it posed no threat. In these coming minutes, I'll reveal the evening routines that secretly transform your rest into one of the most risky periods of your day for your cardiovascular system. And just as crucial, I'll explain what adjustments you can make beginning this very evening to greatly lower that danger. What I'm sharing with you isn't overblown. It's not scare tactics. It's established medical science. I'm Dr. Charles William and I've dedicated years researching heart and vessel wellness in people past age 50. If you're in that category, this information might truly protect your survival. Here's what many don't grasp. Evening hours are when your circulatory network faces its greatest weakness. Data from the American Heart Association indicates roughly half of deadly heart and brain incidents in mature individuals happen between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's no accident. While sleeping, your system should switch into a defensive state. Your arterial pressure naturally decreases. Your pulse becomes slower. Your autonomic system enters healing mode. Your mind eliminates harmful cellular waste accumulated during waking hours. However, when specific behaviors disrupt these automatic functions, rest turns into a biological danger zone. This evening, you'll discover why cardiac arrests and brain attacks occur so commonly during slumber, the most hazardous evening behaviors past 50, and a straightforward practice that shields your heart and mind while resting. Everything I discuss is based on genuine clinical studies, presented in terms you can immediately apply. Let's start with the first lethal evening behavior, dining late and consuming too much. Numerous individuals don't recognize this as risky. They believe, I'm simply eating my meal. But past 50, the timing and content of your evening food intake can decide whether your cardiovascular system relaxes or labors for hours. When you consume a substantial meal late at night, particularly past 8 or 9 p.m., multiple harmful processes occur simultaneously. Your gastrointestinal tract requires extra blood circulation. Your cardiac muscle must work harder to deliver to your digestive organs. Your arterial tension climbs instead of dropping. Your body's energy processing accelerates when it ought to be slowing for rest. In basic language, you compel your heart to perform extra duty at precisely when it requires recovery most. A significant investigation released in the European Heart Journal tracked more than 100,000 people for multiple years. The findings were definite and concerning. Those who routinely consumed late evening meals faced a substantially elevated chance of nocturnal cardiac events and cerebral incidents versus those dining earlier. What's the explanation? Late food processing elevates fat particles in circulation. It heightens vessel wall swelling. It interferes with the typical nighttime pressure decline. And there's another threat most ignore. Resting with an overfull stomach promotes stomach acid backup. This backup doesn't merely create unease. It can activate the vagal pathway and provoke hazardous cardiac rhythm disruptions, particularly in mature individuals. I previously cared for a 68-year-old woman who had consumed heavy late suppers for years. One evening, she experienced a cardiac arrest during slumber. Her cardiovascular system had faced repeated nighttime burden for years, and that night it ultimately failed. The positive aspect is this. Fixing this pattern produces quick results. Earlier, smaller suppers permit your heart to genuinely recover at night. Arterial tension normalizes. The chance of nocturnal crises falls sharply. Now, let's address the second lethal evening behavior. One that numerous people dismiss. Forgetting prescriptions or consuming them at incorrect intervals. If you use medications for blood pressure, cholesterol management, or circulation thinning, this section is vital. Arterial pressure follows a predictable daily pattern. In well individuals, it decreases while sleeping. But in numerous people past 50, this decrease fails to occur or even worse, tension increases overnight. This condition is termed nighttime elevated pressure, and it poses extreme risks. Extensive research released in The Lancet demonstrated that correctly scheduled medication can decrease overnight cardiac and brain attack danger by almost 50%. However, forgetting doses or consuming prescriptions irregularly permits hidden pressure surges during rest. These surges can break open fatty deposits inside your vessels. They can create blockages that move to the cardiac muscle or brain, and they frequently occur without any advance indicators. I've attended to individuals who missed their medication multiple nights weekly. One experienced a devastating brain attack overnight. He lived but with lasting immobility. Prescription scheduling isn't a trivial matter. It determines whether you live or die. Always review medication timing with your physician and never forget doses. Now, let's examine the third lethal evening behavior. Among the most underidentified threats in people past 50, unrecognized or ignored breathing interruptions during rest. This condition causes repeated halts in respiration while sleeping, sometimes extending 10, 20, or even 30 seconds. Each halt reduces oxygen amounts in circulation. Each reduction activates an alarm reaction. Your cardiac rate increases. Your arterial pressure jumps. Chemical stress messengers saturate your network. This may occur hundreds of occasions nightly, frequently without conscious memory. Extensive investigations from leading universities reveal that ignored breathing interruptions triple the danger of nighttime cardiac events and quadruple cerebral attack risk. Alert indicators include persistent loud breathing noises, awakening with choking sensations, dawn head pain, severe daytime exhaustion, arterial tension that's challenging to manage. One of my clients believed noisy sleeping was merely bothersome. One night, her oxygen fell so critically that her cardiac rhythm destabilized. She survived because assistance came quickly. Intervention transformed her existence. Resting sideways can help, but it's no replacement for accurate diagnosis. And now, as hazardous as these patterns are, the following one is even more widespread because numerous mature people do it deliberately, assuming it's healthier. That's when the genuine threat starts. Now, let's proceed to the fourth lethal evening behavior, one that numerous mature people embrace intentionally, assuming it safeguards their rest. Retiring without adequate fluids. Past 50, the feeling of thirst weakens. Numerous individuals also restrict liquid consumption at night to prevent awakening for bathroom visits. On its face, this appears sensible. In truth, it's profoundly hazardous. While resting, your system keeps losing water through respiration and skin moisture. If you begin sleep already fluid depleted, your circulatory network starts the night compromised. Here's what occurs internally. When you're fluid depleted, your circulation becomes denser. Denser circulation moves less efficiently. Sluggish circulation creates blockages more readily. Now, merge this with nighttime biology. While sleeping, your pulse naturally decreases and your arterial tension drops. If your circulation is dense simultaneously, blood supply to the cardiac muscle and brain can become critically limited. This explains why fluid depletion dramatically raises the chance of blockage-type brain attacks and nighttime cardiac events. A report released in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease determined that even modest fluid depletion increased the danger of overnight circulatory crises by more than 60%. I recall a 70-year-old client who boasted to me he avoided water past supper. One early dawn, he suffered a cerebral incident during rest. Brain scans revealed a clot obstructing a brain vessel. His circulation was abnormally thick. Fluid depletion contributed significantly. The answer isn't complex. Consume water 1 to 2 hours before retiring. Visit the bathroom immediately before resting. Maintain water beside you and take little drinks if awake and thirsty. This basic practice maintains circulation moving efficiently all night, lessening burden on the cardiovascular and brain systems. Now, let's review the fifth lethal evening behavior. One practically nobody links to cardiac arrests and brain attacks. Resting in surroundings that are excessively warm or excessively cool. Your sleeping area climate directly impacts your circulatory network during rest. When the space is overly hot, your system fights to release surplus warmth. Vessel walls widen, your pulse rises, and you shed fluids through perspiration. This increases cardiovascular burden and elevates arterial tension. Studies from Harvard revealed that sleeping in spaces above 75 degrees Fahrenheit dramatically raises overnight circulatory danger. However, severe cold poses equal hazards. Frigid conditions cause vessels to tighten. This raises vessel resistance and compels your heart to work against elevated tension. In mature people with rigid arteries, this can become the ultimate catalyst for a cardiac or brain attack. Continental information has revealed dramatic rises in nighttime cardiac events during freezing periods, especially among mature individuals. The optimal sleeping climate range is 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. At this level your pulse stays steady. Arterial pressure control enhances. Rest becomes more profound and more healing. Climate management isn't about ease, it's circulatory defense. Having understood these 5 lethal evening behaviors, let me provide you something much more valuable. A defensive nighttime practice step by step that you can begin this evening. A cardiovascular safe evening practice. Between 6 and 7 p.m., consume a modest supper. Emphasize lean proteins, garden produce, and simple-to-process starches. Skip heavy oils, oversized servings, and too much sodium. 7:30 p.m. Consume water. If your physician has ordered evening prescriptions, consume them precisely as instructed. 8 p.m. Participate in peaceful activities, easy strolling, literature, or soft sounds. Skip emotional turmoil and bright displays. 9 p.m. Arrange your sleeping space. Set climate appropriately. Position water nearby. Lower illumination. 9:30 p.m. Restroom stop. Completely empty your bladder. Clean your teeth. Consume remaining prescriptions if ordered. 10 p.m. Sleeping position is important. If you breathe noisily or suspect breathing disruptions, rest sideways with appropriate neck cushioning. If awakened during darkness, shift carefully. Sit before rising. Consume little water drinks if required. This practice decreases nighttime circulatory burden by over 40%. Based on numerous investigations on daily pressure cycles and rest protection, let's rapidly review the 5 patterns that quietly harm during slumber. 1. Late substantial suppers. 2. Forgetting or mistiming prescriptions. 3. Ignored breathing interruptions. 4. Retiring fluid depleted. 5. Incorrect sleeping area climate. Each individual one poses danger. Combined they form a deadly combination. The reality is difficult but empowering. Numerous nighttime cardiac events and brain attacks aren't inevitable. They're preventable. You don't require costly interventions. You don't need extreme measures. You need understanding and dedication. If you're past 50, this evening counts. Modify these patterns tonight, not later. Your cardiovascular system has functioned for you for decades. Safeguard it while it recovers. Before departing, I request you complete 4 essential actions. First, follow this channel. Weekly, I provide life-protecting health guidance presented clearly for people past 50. Second, approve this video. It assists this content reaching others who might not realize they face danger. Third, write a message. State, I'm altering this tonight. Your dedication might motivate another person to respond. And lastly, distribute this video to someone you value. A spouse, a relative, a companion. You might never realize whose survival you safeguard. Rest should restore you, not threaten you. Seize control tonight. This is Dr. Charles Bennett and I'll see you in the next video.